what's up? I'm feeling bionic. I'm feeling ready to go commando.
Got a gun and a robot arm.
Oh yeah.
I'm a bionic man.
I'm ready to grapple. I'm ready to get out my hook and grapple some ledges.
Ooh.
Yeah. How you guys doing?
I'm all right.
It's been a while. Not really. It's been.
We missed just 1 week, right?
Yep.
We missed 1 week. Yeah, I gotta turn Facebook Messenger notifications. Can't have that.
Yeah, I don't want to be hearing that shit.
Definitely not. It's the Pixel Report. It's a show about old video games every week, or not every week, but some weeks we play an old video game and then we talk about it here on the Pixel Report.
We try to do it every week, but May and April are always the worst months every year. We miss a bunch of shows.
There just aren't enough old video games to play. No.
Yeah, we run out.
Yeah. And then they come out with new old video games and then we play those.
Right.
Well, thanks everyone for being here. I'm your host, John Schoeneman.
Hey, John.
Joined by
Hi, John.
Joined by Aiden. Mr. Aiden is here.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm Mr. Aiden, and I've got paint in my knickers.
Okay.
I got paint in my knickers.
Eric Kirsting is here too. Hi,
That's
Eric.
me.
That's you. And
I'm Eric.
I think Alec is here. All right.
That's a joke about how the voices sound in the game.
Yeah, that is how they sound.
Whoa, that was so meta, Alex.
That's
You ripped
that's
a
like
hole in
500
that game.
Genius joke. 500 geniuses.
What do you think the developers are going to think about that, dude?
They're all dead. No, I don't think anything.
I mean, they might be. It's this, because the game we played this week is so old. But before we get to that, Eric, do you have a topic of, warm-up topic for us?
Yeah.
All right, what is it?
If you could replace one of your limbs with a bionic limb and to give it like a special power, what would you do?
Uh-oh.
Tongue.
Okay. Aiden, what would be your tongue's new power, your bionic tongue?
It'd be able to super taste things, and it would also be able to grab stuff from across the room.
Ooh. Zoop. You're like, What was Chameleon Twist?
Or I could use it as like a straw, and like my water bottle's on the table, but I'm laying down, so like I could just shoot my tongue over there and get hydrated.
Get hydrated.
Genius.
Right. Get hydrated with ruthless efficiency with the new bionic tongue.
Bionic efficiency.
Do you ever want to just lie down and not get up while drinking water from a straw? We've got the solution for you.
Google's definitely going to make a bionic tongue.
Yeah, that's the next thing. Google Glass, Google Stadia, Google Tongue.
I want just a bionic head. They can just they can just turn all the way around, like in the Exorcist.
You want to be like an owl boy?
Is the head?
Yeah, I just want to scare people with that ability.
I was going to ask if the head was a limb, but then I realized I picked tongue. So
I mean, yeah, I think
you can pick whatever you want.
Yeah, it's our show. We can do whatever we want.
It's your show. You're special.
What
about you?
I would replace my arms with suction cups so I can scale the Empire State Building.
Gross.
All of your arms? All two?
So wait, just like your arms are just gone and you just have little like suction cup nubs? Or like what's going on?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
Why not just replace them with bionic arms and then have like fingers or hands that you can activate and deactivate?
You just wouldn't have hands anymore?
Alex just wants to have plunger arms.
No arms, no nothing, just suction cup. Someone would have to stick me.
Yeah. Just coming right out of your torso.
I want my entire body to be covered in suction cups. That's what I want. Eric?
I'd replace my left arm with a computer and a grappling hook, but like it's still bionic. It's just like I can shoot the grappling hook out, just like the guy in today's game,
Ooh.
Bionic Commando.
Parentheses 1988, because there's another one that came out in 2009 called Bionic Commando.
You're right.
Yeah, it's a reboot or remake.
This is the NES version, actually, and not to mention it originally came out in arcade in 1987.
Yes.
So
what's Bionic Commando?
Bionic Commando, originally released as Hitler's Resurrection, top secret in Japan, is an action platformer game released by Capcom for the NES and Family Computer. It is based on the 1987 arcade game of the same title. I just read the Wikipedia thing.
Yeah, just reading along with you there.
Yeah. So Bionic Commando is like, it's kind of like it's an action platformer game. And so what that means is that like, it's got like Mario's a platformer. So it's a game where like your goal is to traverse an environment. And usually like there's like, platforms, and you could fall down a pit or something. You're trying to get from point A to point B. But it's also an action game in the sense that you have like a gun and you're shooting things. So trying to mix those two things. What really makes Bionic Commando stand out.
Mario, you shoot fireballs. Why isn't that an action game?
I think it's about percentage of action to platforming, and Mario is a lot of platforming and not a lot of action.
All right.
So what makes Bionic Commando special is that there's no jumping, which is like crucial for most platforming games. Instead, you have a grappling hook and you grapple everywhere, which is like was definitely its claim to fame in 1988 when it came out. It was like that this was a game where it's a platform game, but you're crossing gaps and stuff with your bionic arm, which is a grappling hook that you shoot around on.
Yeah,
it's a platformer, but you also have a gun.
Uh-huh.
The game has like actually a really interesting plot, especially for an NES game, because like let's just compare this to Devil World, which had literally no plot. This is another NES game we played.
Yep.
But in this game, you control Lad Spencer, the Bionic Commando, and your mission is to rescue this guy, Super Joe, who's from a different video game called Commando, and stop the Albatross Project, which is basically this plot to resurrect Hitler and for this empire to take over.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Wolfenstein-y, like alternate future Nazi plot.
Wolfenstein meets Metal Gear Solid.
Now,
yeah, there you go.
In the original game in Japan, they use like swastikas were like all over it. But we are playing, I don't know about you guys, but I played the English version, and so they replaced the Nazi symbol with the Nazi eagle symbol, which happens actually a lot, because like in Japan they don't care about Nazis, but I guess in like American stuff, it's like not fluid. Like, they didn't want to put that in their games. So a lot of games that have Nazi symbols get changed.
I gotta say, it's a little disconcerting that Japan, who is allied with the Nazis, is just fine with talking about Nazis. Like,
yeah, I think that's a little weird, but
it must just be a culture difference, I guess.
80s were a different time.
Yeah, they're the bad guy, but
it's not like you're playing as a
your
Nazi.
game in swastika, in swastikas.
So in the game, there's like a bunch of different levels that you traverse. Like you go from sewers to like you're climbing like mountains, so like all sorts of different stuff. And generally speaking, what you're trying to do is you're trying to find communications rooms where you can wiretap the enemy or communicate and get special information from informants. And then at the end of the level, you'll do some sort of boss fight, which invariably involves blowing up the place.
Let's blow it up.
And so that's like the gist of Bionic Commando. It's a pretty simple game to grasp what you're trying to do. One of the unique things about the game, from just like a describing perspective, is not only are there the levels that you go on for combat purposes to like further advance the plot, but there's also like a bunch of these neutral areas in the game where it's like the enemies and your allies just like walk around freely. But at the very start, there's a guy who sternly stops you and is like, "This is a no combat zone. If you fire any weapons, we're gonna get you. And if I don't know if you guys did, but if you do shoot somebody, like literally the sky, it like just starts raining man on you. It's pretty awesome.
A bunch of people and yep.
It's pretty
so.
good.
That's the gist of Bionic Commando. You're on this mission to rescue that guy. I rescued him. That's how far I got. There's still a little bit more after you do it. And the Nazis are your enemies, and they're trying to resurrect Hitler.
Right. The game did not sell well in Japan. However, Nintendo Power ranked it the 17th best NES game. 17 of like, how many NES games were there? Like 12?
Yeah,
there were a lot.
Like
NES
or something.
NES had probably more games than maybe any other system, except for until the PS2, maybe. The NES not only did it have a very long lifespan, but also for a long time in the NES's life cycle, there was no Nintendo seal of approval. So there's just people flooded the market with bad NES games. There's so many bad NES games as a result.
There's also a version on the Game Boy from 1992.
And I think the NES was like the best-selling console of all time until like the Wii came out. I think.
The Wii is not the best-selling console. The PS2 is.
Is it now? It must be the best-selling Nintendo. Well, it wasn't always because the PS2 wasn't out at one time, John.
Well, I mean, before the Wii. Like, the Wii is like the 5th best-selling console or something.
Yeah. I mean, isn't the PS2 just a glorified DVD player?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are no good games on the PS2.
You couldn't even play games on that thing. It's a piece of junk.
Except like Spyro.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we need to know about Bionic Commando? It was designed by Capcom, developed and published by Capcom, designed by Hatchin. Junko Tamiya composed the music, which is kind of neat.
Thanks, Junko.
What else did Junko do?
I don't know.
He doesn't have a Wikipedia page, but it says nothing.
Let's see. I've got. He also did Strider, which has, according to Alexander of VGM Online, an extremely memorable main theme.
It's pretty memorable.
I think it's a she. I'm not Junko Tamiya.
Yeah, it might be.
Pepperoni.
Junko.
She did some of the arrangements for Mega Man 1, Codename Viper, Final Fight, Little Nemo, Street Fighter 2010.
Little Nemo.
So a lot of different games.
Cool. Well, should we just anything else, or should we just jump right into what we thought about Bionic Commando?
Let's get right into it.
From 1988.
Again.
Yeah. Now I want to say one thing before we get into talking about the good of this game.
Okay.
I like this game a lot, but I did not play this game how it was intended to be played.
Yeah, me neither.
So just for you guys at home, this is a game where it's very easy to die, especially early on. Later on, you get like extra like health that you can use to like take damage and then keep going. But in the early stages of the game, it's really easy to get a lot of game overs because one hit and you're dead. It's very annoying. But the emulator I had, I could press L2 and just reverse time a little bit. And that made the game way, way, way more enjoyable than it probably would have been otherwise. And so I just want to get that out of the way because I think that would be a huge complaint and I would not have experienced the game in the way that I did and the amount that I did if I hadn't done that. And so that really colors my experience and my opinion of this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game from
I didn't do that.
Game from 1988, or based on an arcade game. So yeah, it's just like freaking impossible. But I also use the rewind feature of my emulator. So, and
you guys are noobs.
Dude, shut up, dude. You're a noob.
I'm not
you're
a noob.
You're the noob, dude.
I'm a pro gamer.
Dude, if you weren't a noob, you would know about that. The emulator has rewind. Anyway, do you guys like anything about Bionic Commando? Grapple hook. I like that grapple hook.
Yeah, you can't say no to a grapple hook.
Dude, that grapple hook is tight, doggy. Except I didn't really, I was talking to you guys about this in the chat earlier, but it wasn't really working for me like all the time, like how I thought it was supposed to be. Like I don't know if I was doing something wrong or if it was just like bad emulation or something with my controller.
I bet you that it was because it was the barrels above the platform that you didn't realize.
I don't think so, because like sometimes I could do it in like the same spots, I don't know. But basically, like sometimes I would grapple up and then I would try to like climb up onto the platform, because you have to do that a lot to like traverse the environment. And it would work like maybe 80% of the time, and then sometimes he would just like sit there and not go up. And I couldn't really figure out like what the common denominator was that wasn't letting me do that. It just seemed like pretty random.
I didn't have a problem with that, and I don't know if it's because I was just using the keyboard and using like directional keys or what, but pretty I mean, for me, the grappling felt nice and snappy.
Yeah, I mean, when it was working how I think it was supposed to be working, it felt like super good. Better than Spider-Man. Better than the new Spider-Man game.
Ooh, that's a spicy comment.
No. I mean, it's like impossible to compare those two things, because they're like, one is like one's just like this huge 3D environment, and this is just like a side-scrolling 2D thing. But
well, you just compared them, John.
I know. I was just making a joke, dude. But it feels really good.
No, I totally agree. The grappling, like you can tell that they put a lot of time into making sure that it wasn't just like something that they were like throwing in. Like it really felt well thought out, and like the way that it would like grab onto things felt like really logical. Like not only is it like your like you could imagine like an NES game doing this, where like you just grapple to something and then you just do a straight like beeline to the target. You know what I mean? But in this game, like there's like you swing around, you can like adjust, like you can go up while swinging to make your swing a little more shallow, so you can jump a little less far if you don't want to. Obviously, it's like limited by like the 8 directions. Like you can only shoot it straight up, back to the left, or back to the right, like right at a 45-degree angle. But that never feels too limiting, because the game is clearly designed around those. Which is another thing. Like if you've played a lot of like NES or SNES games, like you might have like something where it's like you're limited to 45 degrees, and then like, you just have to fight an enemy that never is like in that peripheral, or like have to try to make a jump that doesn't fit within that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I felt like the game really clearly designed everything around the grapple hook, and it felt really nice to use. And when like there were levels where you had like a long jumping sequence in a row where you had to like swing from part to part or whatever, it's like really felt good. And then when like if I ever had to like redo a section that I'd already done, I felt like I was rewarded, because like the grappling hook was so intuitive to use that I could like quickly zip through a section I already knew really well.
Right.
I wish the whole game was just the top down, like in between levels you run into the cars.
That's what Commando is, which is like, this game is like an offshoot of the Commando series, would you say?
Yeah, it's like what's that called?
Spin-off?
Spin-off,
yes.
Yeah, it's a spin-off game of the Commando series.
But yeah, that's literally like what Commando is those levels. And I thought those levels were like way weaker than the other stuff, but that's just me.
I think Alec must have been being sardonic.
Alec has his opinions, and that's fine.
I don't like grappling hooks.
What?
Wow.
That's a joke.
They're dumb.
You're hurting me, Alec. Grappling hooks, they're like what makes the world go round. It's just God up there with a grappling hook.
Yeah, he's grappling the earth.
He grapples the far side, and then he grapples the other side and spins it.
He's whipping it.
But those top-down levels were easier.
Yeah.
I thought they were. I thought those were harder.
I thought they were easy once I realized that I shouldn't shoot anybody and I could just walk to the end.
Well, yeah, okay. And
I'm serious.
I like when you hit the A button, he like spins his grappling hook around.
Oh, does he? I didn't realize
so
that.
you still have the grappling hook in those levels, but it's not used for mobility. It's used for the combat, and it just like pushes enemies away when you do that.
Well, that's actually kind of neat.
It's kind of neat, but it's not as neat as like actually grappling around with a grapple hook.
Yeah, no, I agree. I didn't experience that. Those levels were really easy for me because I literally would not shoot enemies and just walk by them and get to the end.
Yeah.
Pacifist run of Bionic Commando.
Yeah.
You could do a pacifist run actually, because there's no levels where you need to kill enemies because it's always explode the reactor.
Yeah, you can beat the boss by just hitting the objective.
That'd be cool. Like ADGQ run.
Yeah, definitely.
For those of you at home, that's Awesome Games Done Quick. It's like a marathon thing where people speedrun games.
Stinky people.
I think like the way that the grappling hook like tied into the combat was really great. Like using it to like you can like grapple onto the ceiling above you and then kind of just like move up and down on it and like use that to dodge bullets and stuff. And then like you can like shoot when you're on the grappling hook, so you can like move up, dodge a bullet, then move back down and shoot a guy. And that was really fun.
I think for me, once I got into the flow of the combat, it was a lot more fun for me. Because exactly that, like sliding up to a platform and then you get off and you're crouching and you're shooting.
Oh yeah.
Slide
into that platform's DMs.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you can also hit enemies with your grappling hook, which like kind of pushes them away.
Mm-hmm.
And like for a game from 1988, I just feel like it affords you a lot of tactical options with what it gives you, which is like 2 buttons and movement. There's like a lot of cool stuff you can do, and you feel cool while you're playing.
Yeah, you do.
I thought.
Yeah, I agree. The feel, the flow of the game is really nice.
Yeah.
Right. I just wish that it were less hard.
It is hard.
It is a difficult game. And what's funny though, for me at least in terms of the difficulty, is like by the time I got to like the later levels, because I'd been using the rewind, I like stopped using the rewind a lot of the time. Like I just got like naturally a lot better at the game, which would not have happened if I didn't have the rewind in the first place. But I agree that the intro curve was pretty high. One thing I really liked about the game was that like I think that the game was like fine in terms of like your abilities and like your way of traversing the environment at level 1. But they really like there's a ton of different weapons that you can collect in the game, as well as you can equip like different like iron boots, and you get a thing that makes your gun shoot faster, and it's like there's like some minor RPG elements, like kind of what you were saying with tactical options, like not just in terms of like the actual levels, but also in the prep before the levels, because you can choose do I want the rocket launcher or the 3-way gun or the shotgun?
Always the rocket launcher.
The rocket launcher was pretty sick.
What do the boots do?
It makes you can walk on the ceiling, and
cool.
No, not really.
They make it so you can jump on enemies and you don't get hurt when you jump on them. And if they have like a shield or something, it stuns them for a moment so you can shoot them when you land. So like to me, like I don't know, like that was cool to like be able to like I just didn't expect that amount of customization from a platform action game from 1988.
Yeah, totally. I'm going to try something weird here, and I'm going to try putting gameplay on the stream from YouTube. I don't think it's working. It's not working. Well, it was worth a shot.
I had trouble like understanding the like equipment interface before levels or the map, but it's kind of hard to tell what exactly was going on or what you have equipped.
Yeah, it's like the menu, like all the menus are a bit finicky. Like,
yeah, and I think that's probably just
the inventory ones for me. I was just like clicking around, freaking, which weapon is it? And it's like sometimes it's there, sometimes it disappears. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's just like NES limitations.
Yeah, probably. I'm just gonna link in the comments on the video. I just put a link to the game's manual, which actually explains so much. Like For instance, like there's a dark level, like I think it's like level 3 or 4, but the level's like really dark, and you can't enter doors until you shoot out a flare, which you do with the start button, which you wouldn't know unless you had the manual, which tells you once you have this is the flare bomb. So when you're in the cave, press the start button to shoot up the flare. Like this thing, the iron boots kick and kill enemies. Helmet will protect you from enemies' bullets 3 times. Permit needed to enter certain neutral areas, right? Like,
yeah. That would have been good to know.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Manuals are good.
Yeah, but like the thing is, this game leans on the manual pretty hard, because if you don't have it, it's like you don't know what the helmet does, or what the iron boots do, or what the charm does. Do you know what I mean?
This game doesn't hold your hand, gamers.
This manual that you sent, there are like notes written by a child inside of it that were like scanned in there. It says like, go to
cheat codes.
Go to stage, and then in stage, talk to the red guy in the first door. Collect bullets for energy containers, and it's like all misspelled and like terrible. That's pretty good.
Kids are so dumb.
Yeah, especially the ones who play video games.
Yeah, gamer kids.
I thought this game looked really good.
I agree.
Like compared to other NES games that I've played, just like it was very colorful, and there are a lot of different tile sets going on in the different levels. And yeah, I thought it looked really nice. I don't know.
At the end of the game, in like the final like cut scene, there's this giant explosion, and it looks like really sick the way that they did it. And I don't know, like back in those days, like to color, like I don't know, it was like really hard to like draw graphics and stuff back then on those little chips. And so like I can imagine that took like probably 5-6 years to make that explosion.
Yeah, definitely.
I really liked how the neutral towns we were talking about before, where everyone's just hanging out. I liked how those looked a lot, like with the background and stuff like that.
Yeah, totally. I feel like if I was a kid buying this game in 1988 and I looked at the cover art and I was like, oh, this cover art looks awesome, and then I would have been like not disappointed by how the actual game looks. You know what I mean? Because it looks pretty good. It looks cool. And I feel like so many NES games probably were like that, where you like play the actual game and it's just like this looks terrible. I don't know. Or it's just like not. It's like very underwhelming. I don't know.
It's not realized.
Yeah.
Whereas
like
this game totally is realized.
Yeah. And it's clear that this game, unlike a lot of NES games, had like some sort of genuine artist behind it. Like just because like you like click, like if you just go to the like here, I'll link it on. If you just go to like a long play of the video of the game on YouTube, so I just clicked one up. Like, and you just click around the different environments. Like everyone is like a different color. Like they like have a wide variety of different like backgrounds and all sorts of different things. You know what I mean? Like one level is like everything's brick. Another one, everything's like metal. Another one, like it's like a sewer. And so it's just like, even though with the NES, it's like you're really limited in like what you can and can't do. Like it's clear that somebody who was like involved in designing this game was really critically thinking about creating a varied experience from start to finish, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, even if I compare it to like Metal Gear Solid, or not Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear, which is a that's a classic game. That game just looks like super bland and just not very good. Like if you compare it to this, so yeah. It's very nice.
Ooh. Yes.
Good sounds too. I give the sound 9 out of 10 for the sound category.
I didn't like the sound.
Oh yeah?
Okay.
It was abrasive. Like when people were talking in the communiques, and it was like.
I like the sound of like the shooting and the explosions and stuff. I thought that stuff sounded cool. But
I also thought the snare drums on the OST were way too loud.
Dude, it's like it's like military.
No, I know
music.
what it's like.
Okay, they were pretty loud, yeah. I don't know. What else, anything else we want to talk about that we liked here that's worth noting?
I covered what I liked.
I've covered most of what I like.
I liked a lot about it. I thought it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Alec only liked the bad levels, but hey.
Well, he doesn't like grappling hooks.
Oh, one thing. I'll just note that I appreciated the way like the game tried to make like the overmap come alive with like the fact that there's these roving enemies.
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
The way you go into the commando levels, like the top down levels, is when you run into them on the thing. But you can actually try to avoid them by like moving your helicopter around.
Yeah.
And like there's like certain parts where like you don't have enough fuel, so you can't make a certain journey and things like that. And like to me, that made and a lot of it's just open to you right away. Like you could just like skip a bunch of levels if you want.
Yeah, it's an open world game.
Yeah, and so I thought like all of those things were like a really nice touch. They made the game feel better to me and like a little more alive. You know what I mean? Rather than just like I'm starting at level 1 and when I beat it, I go to level 2 and then level 3 starts, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So on and so forth. Like, and there's some backtracking you can do and stuff like that too. So
yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, they added a tactical element to something that, is usually just a world map or whatever. But in this case, it's like, oh, there's like stuff going on this world map, and it's all weird and cool. So yeah,
it's pretty impressive how much this game has got going on.
Yeah, definitely.
For being an arcade game and then an NES game.
It kind of makes me think of like ActRaiser a little bit.
Yeah.
Just in terms of like all the different things going on, but this game was on the NES and not the Super NES, so
yeah,
that's pretty cool.
I think like if you're pretty good at the game, it takes just over an hour to beat the whole thing, which that seems pretty long.
That's not bad.
Yeah, for an NES game,
it seems like a game where it can be pretty difficult to master, but once you do, you'd feel like really cool playing it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like a Super Meat Boy kind of game.
Yeah, like this is a game that if they had a cabinet for this somewhere and there was like somebody playing it who was good at the game, I would like want to watch them play it at an arcade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good way to put it, John.
Yeah. Okay, before we move on to stuff we didn't like, I have a question about Bionic Commando. Do you guys think you should be able to jump in Bionic Commando?
If you could,
sure.
You wouldn't use the grapple as much.
I think,
That's my opinion.
I think you would still use the grappling hook. I think there are situations where being able to jump would just make more sense, like just jumping over a barrel.
Yeah, when there's like a 5-pixel barrel on the ground and you need to you grapple over it and there's like an enemy on the other side and it's like you gotta like it can get like kind of like artificial difficulty in those situations where it's just like if I could just hop over this thing, this would be really easy, but because I have to grapple over it, it's something a lot more difficult. But I think that the grappling, once you get the hang of it, is like that is the flavor of the game. And so like to me, I don't think a jump is needed for this game to be what it is. And also note, you have one button for grapple and one button. So there's a little bit of an NES limitation
I know
there.
from like a practical perspective, it doesn't make any sense. But just like philosophically, do you think you should be able to jump?
If it could.
Yeah.
Should it?
I bet in the 2009 one you can jump.
That was like a 3D game.
I know.
I think there's probably be a lot more you could do with the grappling hook if you combine the jump with it. You could make more elaborate grappling puzzles.
You know what I think?
What?
I think that they wanted to put a jump in, but then it was too hard to manage that stuff on the NES. Like have a jump, grapple, jump combo type thing going on.
Well, I just think having like 2 face buttons makes it basically
that
impossible
too, but
to do it.
Like if they could have a jump and then you had to worry about jumping over like big areas and then grappling also, it might not feel as good.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. It's hard to say. Somebody should hack that in there.
Yeah, I think it would be cool. One thing that's kind of a bummer is that this game, just like they never made like a Bionic Commando 2 for like the SNES or anything. Like this was it. I mean, there's a Game Boy version and there's a Game Boy Color version, but those are relatively the same game. Like they're not like true sequels. They're more like remakes or adaptations of the game. And
I gotta check out that Game Boy Color version.
Game Boy is cool.
I love me some Game Boy games. Game Boy Color games, whatever. Okay. Well, what did we not like about it? Bionic Commando. It's hard.
It's really hard.
Yeah, I thought the difficulty was just the biggest thing. Kept me from enjoying the game.
Yeah, like Eric was saying, especially in the early game, like one hit will just kill you. And it's pretty easy to fall off the level as well.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you're just learning how to swing and stuff.
But then like once you start picking up all those health canisters, it gets a little more manageable, but still.
Yeah, then you can take like 3 hits.
Yeah, but still like pretty messed up.
Yeah. It's.
No, go ahead.
So yeah, so I was just gonna say like there's clearly like they didn't have good quality testers to be like no you need to like give us like multiple, because like the thing is it's not like the technology wasn't there to take multiple hits, right? It's like
Right.
you should have 3 hearts or whatever from the get go. You know what
Or
I
you
mean?
can rip more quarters out of people if there's just the one.
Yeah. But then that's just a failing of like translating the game from an arcade experience to the to the console experience.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculously difficult. Another thing I don't like, and I know this is just like stupid because there's no way to fix it, but having to, when you want to shoot your grappling hook diagonally, which is like basically how you always want to shoot it, you have to press up and left or right on the D-pad, and I hate doing that.
I don't know. I didn't mind that.
I hate having to press like 2 D-pad buttons at the same time. I hate doing that. So
I guess I'm used to it because
Never play fighting games, John.
that's why I hate fighting games. So
Yeah.
no, I'm just kidding. I mean, I don't like fighting games, but that's not why.
It is.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I think it's especially difficult with a PlayStation 4 D-pad. I don't think that D-pad is meant for
NES games.
For you need that trademark Nintendo cross
Yeah, the heck
patent.
clicker
Maybe.
thing.
Yeah,
I have the Xbox 360 or the Xbox One Pro controller,
which
so
is they have the cross on there now.
yeah, it's the cross. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
So it's not too bad.
Wait, the Elite?
The Elite, yeah, that's what.
Where did you get
You have an
Elite, dude?
Dude. Did you swap out your triggers?
No, I don't have that one. I'm sorry.
Oh.
You just have the regular one.
I have the regular one. I'm
You
sorry.
fucking lied to me. I wanted to touch one.
You should get a 360 controller. It's better. No, I'm just kidding.
I have a 360 controller.
I think the
as well.
360 controller is kind of bad.
It's not that good. It's a big step up from the Xbox controller, but like
Yeah,
Duke.
I think the D-pad, Xbox 360 D-pad is trash.
All right, we're getting off topic. What are some other bad things about Bionic Commando?
I love talking about D-pads. No, I think that's it. It's a really good
That's
game.
it.
Unless you're Alec and you just don't like grappling hooks for some reason.
Grappling hooks, vampires.
Well, Alec, what do you think? You've been a little quiet.
Well, this I don't mind. I thought it was funny, but this is probably something that's not good with the game. Is at least the translation that we got didn't seem like it was formatted correctly.
Yeah,
Like-
it would there would be like single words that would be cut off between 2 pages of text.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like the communicate wiretapping or something when you were like hacking into those computers was all hyphened weird, so it looked like wiretap.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff was super weird.
Like if it had been up down, it would have been easy to put it all in one line. But instead, they put it left to right, and then it became really difficult to read.
Yeah, and some of the text, like I got that like all your base are belong to us kind of vibe coming from
Yeah.
it. So I liked that. I think it's funny.
It's
But-
charming.
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah,
pretty
it's not bad. If it's something that increases your enjoyment of the game, I don't think it's bad.
Eric, what's this YouTube video you sent?
It's a long play, just so that because I want to, and I was talking about clicking through the game to show the variety of the environments.
Okay.
because like if you just click it at any other spot, like it's like, whoa, this game looks completely different at like at any given marker.
Gotcha. Well, should we just go ahead and review this one?
Yeah.
Give it some scores.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Did you find any reviews for it, Eric?
I don't have. It's not a review, but it's from the top NES games of all time on IGN. They actually gave this game number 9, which is pretty high.
Top. Oh my gosh.
So I'll read their blurb about it. How's that sound?
Yeah, read the blurb.
It may strike some as strange that one of the NES's very greatest platformers, the IGN, what the fuck, very greatest, dispenses with jumping, that essential component of Mario's repertoire entirely. But Bionic Commando's Rad Spencer gets by just fine with the help of his bionic appendage. At first, Bionic Commando's emphasis on swinging seems counterintuitive and limiting, but at some point, the smooth grappling action just clicks. Exactly how I felt. You find yourself zipping around the stages in a blur of red and green pixels. Taking cues from open-ended adventure games like Metroid, you'll need to find certain weapons and equipment to progress in Bionic Commando, and that sometimes means returning to areas you previously visited to take care of unfinished business. A thinly veiled plot about the resurrection of Adolf Hitler and an epic soundtrack go a long way toward making Bionic Commando a truly unique experience on the NES.
Cool.
I forgot to mention that I saw that Metroid similarity as well. I kind of got like original Metroid vibes from this game.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I thought this game was pretty great. It basically had like everything going for it. I guess I wasn't crazy about like the music, which is usually pretty important for me, but everything else was just like pretty top notch. Like the gameplay was super fun. It's like a very unique play style to it that didn't feel like other stuff. It looked really good. It had like, I didn't get that into the story, but it actually seemed like kind of interesting. So yeah, I thought this was a really good game. I'd give it like an 8.5 out of 10.
That's a very nice score, John.
Woo!
Yeah, definitely. What about you guys?
Well, for slaying Nazis automatically gets you 2 stars. So in any game,
okay.
I wish I could. Well, no, I'm not gonna say anything. I don't like.
Dude, let's not make this show like political, dude. Like seriously,
you don't like Nazis.
No,
dude.
That's not what I was gonna say. I was gonna say something like, I wish I could go back and slay Nazis in real life, but like that's not right. I don't want to take away anything from.
I don't think there's
the guys
anything.
that sacrificed their lives to.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you look at it that way,
yeah,
it would have been awesome to be in World War II. No, I get what
I'm
you're
just
saying.
so afraid
like,
of offending people.
Like, you don't want to be like, oh, it would have been so good to be in like World War II and kill Nazis, because it was probably like not cool
obviously
at all.
not cool to do that.
Yeah, not fun.
But I'll take killing them in this game. That's fine. I thought it had a lot of like you said, for an NES game, it had a lot of cool stuff going for it. So that was nice.
All right.
Alec, you're struggling so hard. Say nice.
I like, besides killing Nazis and stuff, I just like those wacky kind of video game stories where it's like Mecha Hitler or anything. I always think that's funny.
Yeah.
And
did you ever play the new Wolfenstein games, Alec?
no, I haven't played any of them.
Those are. You should play
I
those.
probably should.
Yeah, if you like slaying Nazis.
Those games are really good.
Zombie Nazis.
No, they're just regular.
There's some zombies.
I don't know. I didn't really enjoy playing this game, but I know that like it did a lot of cool stuff for being an NES game. So I'll give it a 3 out of 5 because I didn't hate it. I just was not good at it at all.
Get good, dude.
No,
I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 5 because I thought it was prohibitively difficult for me.
Okay.
It's straight up stopped me from being able to enjoy the things I liked about the game. I still want to commend it for what it was trying to do, but it's just a real bummer that it couldn't have gone all the way, like with just a little bit of difficulty tuning. I probably could have sunk into this game like a shark in water.
Like a like a grappling hook and a
in a cheese wedge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like I opened the show, I think if I were to rate this game without the rewind feature on my emulator, it'd probably be like a 3, maybe a 4. But I got a lot of enjoyment out of this game because I was able to get afforded a little bit more leeway in the experience of getting better at the game. And then I was able to just quickly get to like later levels without the worry of like game overing and heading back to level 1. Mm-hmm. And so those things made this game like a really, really enjoyable experience. And so like I like this game a lot. I would give it 5 grappling hook fingers grabbing onto your skull out of 5. I really loved it. And if I had the time, and maybe I'll try it, I've got some time this summer, I would love to fucking make a 2019 version of this game. Like I would love if there was like on Steam, like like, you know what I mean? How Binding of Isaac is kind of like Legend of Zelda remastered, right? Or like put into a new context. I wish someone would do that for Bionic Commando, because like this game is like such a cool concept that like works so well. Like it's surprising to me how well it worked out. Because like it's an NES game, which I just didn't.
It's really good. I actually started playing this game. That what's that Katana game? Shoot.
I know you're
Katana Zero. Yeah. I started playing that today, and it is really good. And when I was playing Bionic Commando, I actually had like similar feelings about Bionic Commando. Just like the flow of the action and stuff. It was like very similar.
This is one of like the widest distribution of scores we've given: a 2, 3, 8, and 5.
Yeah, that's a pretty wide dispersal.
Usually we're pretty on the same page, but not this time. Favorite?
Yeah, you can read your favorite.
Punch Out poem. Dear Nintendo, Mike Tyson's great. The man is black. He's got more power than Little Mac. He can really go when he gets in the ring. He starts his moves when the bell goes ding. To get in the ring, to play the best, first you have to beat the rest. You think Mike Tyson can't be beat, but if you have the strength, you can knock him off his feet. By Paul Woods in Janesville, Wisconsin. And then here was the Nintendo Power's response. Pretty powerful poem, Paul.
That's pretty good, I guess.
I like that. That's wholesome.
Yeah, it's nice. But what about this? Dear Nintendo, my friends and I have been wondering if we can make a game and send our idea to your company.
No.
And then
the answer.
Nintendo says, we're glad that video games... Okay, this PDF is weird. Like, there's a bunch of misspellings and stuff. I don't know. Like, do you notice that, Eric?
No.
It's like...
Oh, it's stimulating it.
It's stimulating?
There's like a bunch of... Like, all the A's are replaced with E's.
Oh, that is...
But
it is,
it's obviously...
There's other A's. Like, for instance, in Justin Bell's Derek, the A in his name is...
But then some of the... I don't know. Anyway... Nintendo says, we're glad that our video games are stimulating the imaginations of players. Unfortunately, for various legal reasons, we are not allowed to use your proposals or send them to our product development people in Japan. That's sad.
That's really funny.
That's really sad.
You fool.
I've noticed that Howard Phillips looks just like Little Mac on Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! Is this just a coincidence, or was Little Mac made to look like Howard Phillips? Do you know who Howard Phillips is?
No.
He was like the Reggie of 1988. He was like Nintendo's like forward-facing spokesman person. I think basically pretty much. He was not made to look like Little Mac. According to Nintendo.
Now we know.
It's funny how like within 10 years, like these magazines become like a lot of like stuff that are like very like Gamergatey. Do you know what I mean? Like when we read these letters to the editor, but these ones are all just like, I'm in 3rd grade and I like the Nintendo. My mom did too. Thanks.
Can we make a game and send it to you?
It's called Mario 2.
how do you pronounce Kid Icarus?
Yeah.
So
do you guys want to know some of the top games from October 1988 when Bionic Commando came out?
Sure.
All right, guess what number 1 is?
Pong.
Yep, it's Pong. No, it's Legend of Zelda. There's a
What
map.
is
There's
that?
in this one of the issues of Nintendo Power I was looking at today. There's like a map of Legend of Zelda that just like showed the whole world, and that was really
That's
cool
cool
to look at. I was like,
Yeah,
"Whoa,
that's really
this is
cool.
awesome!" And it would have been like actually so useful to have if you were trying to play Zelda.
Fun fact about the original Legend of Zelda game: it's like the first console game where you can save your progress. And
Oh,
pick
cool!
up.
That's awesome.
But yeah,
Number 2. Guess what number 2 is?
I'm looking, so I should. I can't guess.
Pong.
It's Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Woohoo! Number 3 is Metroid. Number 4, Super Mario Bros.
I have a fun fact about Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Okay.
There are people who speedrun the game blindfolded because you can actually all the tells you can do from the audio in the game.
Huh. I never knew that. I don't think I've ever played Punch Out.
I never played Punch Out either. Actually, no, that's not true. I've played it. I played it at Up Down. Well, the next issue of Nintendo Power is going to have a giant holiday giveaway.
Okay, John, I have a quick question.
Okay.
Just a question.
Yeah.
Is this thing the top 30? I don't think it's the top selling games.
Yeah, I don't know what this is.
I think it's like you guys ranked the games for us, and they just did this for every issue for a while.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right.
And
yeah.
they assigned like points based on the pros picks, the players picks, and the dealers picks.
Yeah. Well, where's frickin' Bionic Commando on this list?
It was
sold horribly.
It had just come out. No, it had just come out because it's like the feature.
Yeah.
It's like the number. It's like the feature of the game, and this is from before the game, so it just hasn't come out yet.
Excite Bike is number 25. That game's really good.
I like how the dealers their game is RBI baseball. That's their favorite game.
That's that's a game. Well, let's wrap it up.
That's the Pix Report for
That's
you
another
guys.
episode of the Pix Report in the can. It's
I'm gonna change my score.
I think Alec is talking and he's like not he's like not on the I can't hear him.
I changed my score to a 4.
Oh, whoops! I had my mic turned off.
Yeah, you. Good job, Alec.
We just missed out.
The only thing I said was in the toilet. When you said that episode in the can, that's what I said.
You weren't guessing
okay,
games
cool.
before, Alec?
No.
Oh. But I changed my 5 to a 4 just because I did use the rewind features.
Whoa.
I used it so liberally. I was just thinking about it and I was like, a 5 is really high for a game that like I basically cheated to enjoy.
You can't change your score after you do it. What are you, Polygon? All right.
Whoa.
Dude, shots fired at Polygon. What did they do that with? They did that with a game, like a whole bunch. I think it was Destiny or something.
So I have to keep the 5?
No, you can change it.
You can change it.
We don't really have
But
like
I get to have unlimited void scores if you get to do that.
we don't really have like
nope. It's a 5. Because the void scores fuck up my ability to count your average score.
I'd say our editorial code of conduct is pretty loose, so you can do whatever you want. I mean, Aiden gave a game 0 out of 0 one time, and we allowed that. So
I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 out of 5.
Okay, that's fine.
No.
All right. Well, that's the show. You find us on Facebook at facebook.com/thepixelreport. You can listen to our podcast, this podcast. You can listen to it on Spotify or Google Play or wherever you get your podcasts. And we'll be back next time with some more old video games. We'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.